Hello and welcome to Racing News 365 answers your fan questions following the bombshell departure of Christian Horner from Red Bull. Joining myself, Nick Golding, to look at your questions and answer some that have been posted in is none other than lead editor Ian Parks. Ian, I mean, we've had no choice but to do this video because there have been so many questions surrounding, of course, Christian Horner's departure from Red Bull. He'd been its team principal from the very beginning for just over 2 decades. Laurent Mekies, his replacement, is just Red Bull's second team principal since it entered the sport in 2005, which is absolutely mental. But anyways, let's get straight on with the questions, and we've picked the 5 most popular ones which got sent in quite a few times. So Ian, to kick things off, what is the official reason for Horner's exit?
Well, first of all, I just want to very briefly say, Nick, you're the one with the unusual background.
I am,
so
for a
why
change.
don't you tell us where you are?
Yes, so I am currently in Berlin at the Tempelhof Airport for Formula E's Berlin E-Prix. It is raining outside, so apologies to those watching if I look a little bit dark. The heavens have opened, but yes, even here, the talk of the town is Christian Horner. So Ian, what exactly is that official reason? Because nobody seems to know, at least here in the Formula E paddock.
Quite honestly, Nick, we haven't really been given an official reason. All we know is a statement was released on Wednesday morning from the parent company of Red Bull Racing, known as Red Bull GmbH. And it's quite simply stated, should I say, that Christian Horner had been released from his operational duties with effect from that particular day, i.e. Wednesday, July 9. So as I say, really unusual. That there was no official reason given. We know for a fact that Christian Horner had a meeting with the Red Bull board on Tuesday. He was informed of their decision on that particular day. Christian then went into the Red Bull factory at Milton Keynes for what proved to be the final time on Wednesday morning. He gave what we now know to be this quite emotional speech to the Red Bull workforce. We know it was emotional because we saw a video of a Red Bull employee taking a video on their phone for the first 2.5 minutes and Christian Horner choking up. And then, as I say, that was it. He left the Red Bull factory for, as I say, what we believe to be the final time at around 11:30 on Wednesday morning. But at this stage, nothing official has come out from Red Bull as to why Christian Horner has been told he is no longer in charge after 20 years.
Maybe we'll get an answer when we get into the Belgian Grand Prix in around a fortnight's time. But of course, one of the questions which was also asked a lot of times is that, as we pointed out, Horner held the role of Red Bull CEO and team principal for just over 20 years. 2024 was obviously a very disruptive year for him. Obviously, he had the investigation, obviously after being accused of inappropriate behaviour. He was, at the end of the day, following an investigation, cleared of any wrongdoing, but it then resulted afterwards in a fallout between Max Verstappen and Christian. Is this departure a step too late from him at Red Bull?
I get what you're saying. We obviously know there are factions inside Red Bull. Of course, Max Verstappen, Max's dad, being one of them, who really wanted to see the back of Christian after all that exploded at the start of last year when, of course, a female employee accused Christian Horner of inappropriate behaviour. We know Christian, of course, underwent both an internal and an external investigation at the time. He was cleared on both occasions. Christian Horner made it clear that he wanted to fight on, which he naturally did do. We did see, of course, that Adrian Newey, on the back of everything, decided he wanted to leave Red Bull, and obviously he announced his departure in May of last year. Of course, there was a period of gardening leave that followed before he was ultimately taken by Aston Martin. Yes, other people have left. Jonathan Wheatley left as sporting director. Numerous other senior figures have left as well over the intervening period. So for Red Bull, should they have acted at that particular time? Well, they did do. They, as I say, they had these investigations, and ultimately Christian Horner was found to no wrongdoing, basically. So due process was applied. And whatever you might think of that, obviously we were never really given the true inside aspect as to how those hearings took place. Nothing ever came out of them other than we know that Christian was cleared. As I say, whatever you think of those, Christian remained in charge. Has it come too late? Potentially you could argue that to be the case because, as I say, we've had these numerous changes. Performance has gone backwards with inside Red Bull. Can it all be attributed to Christian Horner? I don't think so. But nevertheless, the decision has been made now, and now it's time for Red Bull to rebuild.
The next most popular question, and it's on the topic of rebuilding in a way, because what could be next for Christian? Of course, we've heard speculation in the last few weeks, maybe linking him to Ferrari. That was very quickly shut down. But what could be next for Christian? Are we going to even see him back in Formula One?
It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. It's a case of maybe along the lines of you can never keep a good man down. Because whatever you might think of Christian, and as I say, whatever you might think of Christian, whatever happened back in 2024, early 2024, with regard to that female employee, what you cannot dismiss from his record is what he has achieved with Red Bull over those 2 years. And let's face it, it has been nothing short of quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Building up a team that he said himself was nothing more than 2 buildings that operated out of Milton Keynes when Red Bull stepped in and took over what was once Jaguar. And now it has transformed it into this almighty powerhouse of a Formula One team. This huge campus, of course, now based in Milton Keynes. It's got its own powertrains department. It's got its own wind tunnel. And it has, of course, won numerous championships, 8 drivers' titles, 6 constructors' championships, numerous Grand Prix, all at the helm of Christian Horner. The bottom line is, Nick, as I say, whatever you might think of him at the start of 2024 and whatever went on, nevertheless, he knows how to build a winning team. The possibility, and one of the big possibilities, there is a door of opportunity open at Alpine. It, of course, does not have a team principal. It has a man that has taken on the duties of a team principal because, of course, Oliver Oakes was in charge. Flavio Briatore, of course, had previously been appointed as executive advisor. And we know Flavio, as I say, has taken on the duties of Oliver Oakes as team principal, but he is not the official team principal. So there is a team principal opening there for Christian. It's a team that's not too far away from his current Oxfordshire home, so he wouldn't have to travel too far. So let's wait and see, as you say.
Another question
Only
that came
time
in.
will tell.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. We
phrase.
still need the merchandise. But obviously, Red Bull has already announced Christian's replacement in Laurent Mekies. So a question that was asked several times, what does Laurent bring to the table, do you think? And does he have any areas of expertise which perhaps Christian didn't?
I think this is a really good appointment for Red Bull Racing. Bearing in mind that Laurent, of course, steeped with a technical background. Of course, he was at Ferrari for quite a period of time, was deputy team principal, as we know. Before that, he was at the FIA, where he was deputy race director. He was also safety director. So he's got a broad expanse of knowledge on the technical side, on the sporting regulation side. And of course, given his background within the FIA, he has an understanding as to how the FIA works. Of course, he's been team principal at Racing Bulls for a period of time now. So, as I say, he's got this huge expanse. He brings numerous, facets of F1 to the table in now stepping up into what are quite obviously huge shoes to fill, given Christian Horner's departure.
And the final question, which was perhaps asked by our fans more than any other, what does Christian Horner's exit mean for the one and only Max Verstappen? Of course, it's been speculated with links obviously tying him to Mercedes recently. Will he go? Will he stay? Well, now that Horner's gone, is Max more likely to stick with Red Bull for 2026?
This is a really tricky, it's probably the most tricky question to answer, I would suggest, because we know that Max Verstappen has been holding talks with Red Bull. Sorry, we've been holding talks with Mercedes. We know he's got a contract with Red Bull through to 2028. That's an absolute cast iron guarantee. But of course, he has these break clauses within this contract. And we're led to believe that at some point over the summer break, maybe now, is it going to be another 2 races time when we go into the official F1 summer shutdown after the races in Belgium and Hungary? Do those exit clauses come into play then? And we're led to believe that Max has to be outside the top 3 in the driver's standings for that particular clause to be enacted, as I said, at some point over the winter. This is why we're waiting. This is why it's been mentioned that something will happen over the summer. And we're led to believe that that something happening over the summer is either Max staying because he cannot leave because of that break clause, as I've mentioned, or the possibility that that break clause has been enacted. He will be outside the top 3 at some point, potentially over the Belgian and Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, should the points tally prove to be the case. And maybe then that is the time Mercedes will step in and offer Max a contract. As I say, it's still all up in the air. It cannot be determined definitively, but right now it really is a case of only time will tell.
You're saying it now, only time will tell. It's going to be our new slogan,
I'm stealing it from you, mate. That's
you're
right.
stealing it. Ian, amazing stuff, as always. And of course, the fans watching this video, if you have any other questions on the Christian Horner departure from Red Bull, please do let us know in the comments below. Maybe we can answer them again in further podcasts or further videos. Please do also smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and for myself and Ian, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching as always, folks. Take care. Enjoy Berlin, Nick, although I gather it's going to rain.